We're always told to trust the science. But what happens when the science we all think we know isn't actually science at all? Well, today we're going to tackle some of those huge facts that are really just fictions we've all kind of agreed to believe. I mean, come on, you've heard this one a million times. You see it in movies, you hear it from people. This idea that we've got 90% of our brain just sitting there, waiting to be unlocked. It's an awesome idea for a story, but is there any truth to it? Yeah, not even close. It is absolutely time to separate the scientific facts from some really popular fiction. So here's our game plan. We're going to start super close to home with myths about our own bodies. Then we'll zoom out to our planet and then way out into the cosmos. And to wrap it all up, we'll talk about how you can become a mythbuster yourself. Okay, let's kick things off with myths about us. It's kind of funny, isn't it? Some of the biggest misconceptions out there are about the one thing we should know best, our own bodies. This one is just so persistent, and honestly, you can see why. The idea that 90% of our brain is just dormant, well, that suggests this incredible untapped potential. It's exciting. It feeds that hope that we could all be superheroes if we just figured out the secret. But the reality is your brain is a whirlwind of activity 24/7. It's not that we only use a tiny part of it, it's that we use different parts for different things. It's like a massive orchestra. Talking, moving, even dreaming requires all these different sections working together perfectly. And look, the proof is pretty solid. Modern brain scans, like fMRIs, show that even for a super simple task, like, say, making a fist, areas all over your brain light up. Plus, think about this. Our brain is an energy hog. It uses a whopping 20% of our body's calories. Evolution just wouldn't let us keep such an expensive organ around if we were only using a tiny fraction of it. All right, on to our next myth. This one has basically become a go-to insult for anyone who's a little forgetful. But is it really fair to the poor goldfish? So the reality here is actually pretty incredible. Turns out goldfish have some seriously impressive memory skills. Studies have shown they can be trained to do all sorts of things, like respond to sounds or colors to get food, and they remember this stuff for a really, really long time. 5 months. Let that sink in for a second. That is a whole world away from 3 seconds. So yeah, next time you hear someone drop that line, you can be the one to set the record straight. Okay, so from the world inside our bodies and our fish tanks, let's zoom out to the entire planet we share. There are some huge myths out there that really shape how we see the world around us. I mean, this saying is everywhere. It's become a metaphor for some rare thing that could never happen again. It sounds like a fundamental rule of nature, right? Except, nature breaks this rule all the time. Here's the deal. Lightning is basically just a massive electrical discharge that's looking for the path of least resistance to the ground. It wants the easiest, most direct route. So a tall, pointy, conductive building doesn't just get a free pass after it's been hit once. It's still the best path in town. And if you want a perfect example, just look at the Empire State Building. It gets zapped about 23 times a year. It's basically a magnet for lightning because it's so tall and offers that perfect path. So not only can lightning strike the same place twice, it happens a lot. All right, from the forces hammering our planet, let's turn our eyes upward and expand our view to the cosmos. Because there's another giant myth waiting for us out there. This is one of those facts that people share with such wonder. This idea that this ancient wall is so massive, so incredible, it's the only thing humans have ever built that you can see from the moon. The truth? You absolutely cannot see the Great Wall from the moon. Not a chance. And even from low Earth orbit, you'd have to be incredibly lucky, under perfect conditions, and even then you'd really have to squint. The problem here is just simple scale. Yeah, the wall is super long, but it's also really narrow. And the materials it's made from tend to blend right into the landscape. In fact, astronauts say it's way, way easier to spot things like highways or airports, and especially the amazing web of city lights at night. Okay, so we've debunked myths about our brains, about goldfish, about lightning and space, but the real goal here isn't just to swap out old facts for new ones. It's about learning how to look at any piece of information with a healthy bit of skepticism. And here's your personal toolkit for thinking like a scientist. It's just 3 steps. First, always, always question the source. Did you hear this from a scientific journal or, a superhero movie? Second, Go look for the actual evidence. What does the data say? And third, and this is the most important one, just stay curious. The absolute best defense against bad information is a mind that's always asking, wait a minute, is that really true? It's like the legendary Carl Sagan said, science is a way of thinking much more than it is a body of knowledge. It's not about memorizing a textbook, it's a process, a tool for asking questions and figuring out how things really work. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you've got the tools, what common fact that you've always believed are you going to go investigate? The world is just full of incredible things to discover as long as you keep asking questions. Thanks for joining me.